How can culture protect the environment, reduce inequalities, or promote decent work? By safeguarding heritage, supporting culture policies, and promoting jobs of culture professionals. Culture safeguards the environment, engages, informs, educates, transforming perspectives and bringing people together to make our planet a sustainable place to live in. Yet culture's contribution to a sustainable world remains largely invisible. In the 2030 Agenda, culture is present just in Indicator 11.4.1, which only measures expenditure on heritage. There is a lack of harmonized and reliable data collection mechanisms for culture. Culture-related data remains limited and scattered across various institutions. Numbers alone do not show culture's contribution. Qualitative measures are also necessary for culture. Without data, culture risks being marginalized and poorly funded. UNESCO Culture 2030 Indicators is a framework to measure and monitor culture's contribution to the 2030 Agenda. The first phase of implementation ongoing from 2021 includes 13 countries and 17 cities from all regions of the world. What did the UNESCO Culture 2030 Indicators reveal? Let's have a look at some implementation's outcome.
Baguio City's aspirations are inspired by its main assets, culture and nature. And this is reflected in our vision for the city as a breathtaking city of pines, a living stage of culture and arts in harmony with nature. With innovation and creativity, culture and arts have been the most visible manifestation of our people's aspiration to make Baguio more livable and lovable. We see this as the growing number of murals on public spaces, rehabilitated public parks and gardens. We recognize the need to preserve the city's heritage, not only for their intrinsic value, but also for their instrumental values.
Baguio City has taken a systematic approach to sustainable heritage management, one that is more participatory, inclusive, and culturally sensitive. This included the mapping of heritage sites and structures, as well as the mapping of creative industry and general planning exercises undertaken by the city in the past 4 years. 40 cultural facilities enrich the city's cultural life, among which are 11 libraries, a balanced number of museums, art galleries, performance venues, cinemas and traditional cultural spaces, and 3 creative hubs. An impressive 72.2% of all public open spaces can be classified as cultural open space due to its use for cultural purposes, especially for performances at 28.8% in 2019 and sports and recreation at 33.9%. The cultural open space occupies an area of 368 meters squared, which is nearly the totality or 92.2% of the urban open space area. Baguio City supports a creative economy that contributes to city employment, although a large role is played by the tourism sector. In 2018, culture contributes to the economy of Baguio with 2.2% of GDP at the province level and employs 3,947 cultural workers, representing a total of 2.7% of the city's total employment. The presence of men and women is well balanced in cultural occupations. The city gained the status as a UNESCO Creative City in 2017, and the local government established culture and creative governance structures such as the Creative Baguio City Council. Women's participation in governance is ensured by the Gender Equality and Development Code and includes women in cultural and creative sectors. In Baguio City, cultural values and indigenous knowledge are integrated into the local educational system, ensuring a population that is more culturally aware and sensitive and respectful of diversity. Cultural and artistic education begins in basic education and continues until the secondary level, where sustainable development principles are integrated into core subjects through the K-12 basic education program. Baguio City also has an Indigenous Peoples Education Program. In vocational training and tertiary education, ecological principles and promotion of inclusivity are included in the basic competencies of culture-related courses. There is a growing realization of the need to improve the transmission and safeguarding of cultural knowledge among the city's education stakeholders. Baguio City is a melting pot of different cultures. Indigenous communities in the city are very much communal, where everything and anything is shared, and this is reflected in their active participation in the city's governance. The city is taking a lead in promoting multi-stakeholder participation in local governance, including that of culture. Different cultural groups were instrumental in sustaining Baguio City's status as a UNESCO Creative City for crafts and folk art. Their active participation along with the rest of the creative community made it possible for the city to fulfill its commitment to UNESCO as a creative city. Continuous participation in cultural governance is also ensured with the creation of governance structures such as the Creative Baguio City Council.
The UNESCO framework of thematic indicators has been localized in the context of the Philippines. This bodes well for a data-driven and knowledge-based planning and development in the areas of culture and creativity.
By implementing the UNESCO Culture 2030 Indicators framework, Baguio City was able to highlight the contribution of culture to sustainable development and empower policymakers to formulate evidence-based policies and actions to safeguard culture and heritage and promote creativity. Baguio City is committed to continue updating the indicators in coming years. This can be done through multi-stakeholder participation with the local government unit, national government agencies, the academia, and the private sector working together.